Well, getting your finances right can be tough at the best of times, and that's for adults. For those of us with children, we often wonder how we can get help and help them best start when it comes to finance. Guy Sloan from Fisher Funds joins us now with some practical tips to get your kids on the right track. Good morning, Guy. So, traditional, when I grew up, this is showing my age, the piggy bank. We all had a piggy bank. We put money in. You could see the money growing. How does that work today in the digital world with our children?
Yeah, look, the piggy bank's super interesting. It was falling a little bit out of fashion. You know, we just don't use cash as much as a society, but if you've got young children especially, you will see how interested they are when you give them a cash, via a birthday present. It might be the tooth fairies visited for the first time. So great opportunity to just get them interested, get them thinking about what money is. For older children, there's some great new ideas online as well. The free jar method, really popular, gets them to think about splitting their money into what they want to spend, save, and also to give to others as well. So a nice introduction to a little bit of delayed gratification and just get some of those building blocks in place early for them.
So you said the three jar method.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit how that works.
Yeah, so look, it's all about opening up that piggy bank. The hard thing there is you can't see what's inside, so it lets them have these free options. For young kids, if you want a little bit of a project for the end of the holidays, get them involved in making it. It kind of makes it all practical, get some hands-on. It's how our kids kind of learn as well. And it lets you kind of just really engage them in some of those simple early budgeting skills as well and thinking what's important for them.
So there's a jar for saving, and there's a jar for to spend, and so literally on their bedside table there would be three jars.
Yeah, three jars, all nicely tucked away together, and lets them just think about what's important for them, see a little bit of those real world of consequences as well. I've ran out of one jar. I might need to think about what I do with my next pocket money.
Moving my savings jar into my spending money jar.
Yeah. Hopefully not.
Hopefully not. Hopefully the other way. And I guess, is it all about chores and doing chores around the house?
Look, it links into chores really well, and I know parents are always trying to get more out of their kids, and this is where that digital age kind of becomes pretty important. We see a lot of parents using apps and other media now, and very much depends on your family, and it might be that you do want to kind of encourage a little bit of kind of thinking of helping around the house, and there's loads of little tips and tricks to kind of help out there as well.
Do you know what I think often though, and I bet you'll agree, it's about how you watch your mum and dad and you watch their behaviour and how they deal with money. Would you say that's true? Yeah,
totally true. There's been great steps in schools. There's a lot of new financial literacy programs coming out, but as parents, we still have such an important role to play. Our kids, they see what we're doing day to day. It's how they build those early experiences. And they say that you'll learn most of your money habits before you turn the age of 7. So you might not realise it, but they're watching all the time and they're taking in everything we're doing.
Before the age of 7?
Yeah.
How can they take that all in?
Yeah, it's quite amazing. It was a study that was completed a number of years ago, and quite surprising that all of that, how we are as adults, kind of a lot of it is based on what we see, how we interact in those early years with our parents especially.
It's fascinating, and I think that is so true, because I think if you're someone that's, here's $5 to go to the dairy, here, you think you're doing a kid a favour, but actually it's probably the worst thing you could do.
Yeah, absolutely. And they often say we all think back fondly on childhood memories, and there's these key moments that kind of define a lot of how we are in later life. We might have been a saver, might have been a spender. That $5 might have just disappeared on the day right away.
Yeah. I've definitely got kids that I can see that with one's a saver, one's a spender. And what about as they get older with teenage kids and then KiwiSaver? How important is that when you're sort of a teenager? Yeah,
look, really great time. Government's just brought in new legislation, so 16 and 17-year-olds are now eligible for government contributions from the 1st of July, and from the 1st of April next year, employer contributions as well. So any of them who've got a part-time job, really nice incentive to be thinking about that. We definitely do have a role to play as parents, so just to help them out in those kind of first interactions and get them started, but really important to let them make a lot of those decisions themselves. So it can be tempting for us to take control, but show them what KiwiSaver is, help them learn about it, and great chance. We always hear parents saying, we just wish we'd started earlier. We can do that for our kids now.
That's absolutely true. Guy Sloan from Fisher Funds, thanks so much for joining us.
Guy, I'm actually feeling quite vindicated, because with our eldest, who is 7, we started earlier this year actually going for the allowance approach. And you can see that actually at the start, it was like $3 a week, okay, so minimal, and in cash, so she could see actually physically what it was. And at the start, whenever she would go out to the shops, she just wanted to spend, saw lollies, wanted to buy, because we sort of found that we were always saying no to everything, right? We wanted to buy treats.
Yeah.
No. We thought, okay, we'll see how she can manage it. And I thought, this is gonna be a nightmare. Her spending habits are, clearly the mind is wired to just go and spend. But actually, after a few weeks, the novelty of that kind of wore off.
Yeah.
She's now actually accumulated maybe close to $80 or something like that. And I've been super impressed that she's actually started saving, and the novelty of spending has worn off now.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, I must say...
What good parenting, Chris.
Well, we were kind of talking about what the best way to go about it. And I know you talked about chores, but we kind of said... no, we're not going to do it as a rewards base for chores, because if you're in the family, if you're in the household, there is an expectation that you do your bit. And so actually, instead of rewarding things for putting your dishes away or tidying your room, that's like a base level of expectation. So we'll just give an allowance and then see what she does with it. And it's going okay so far.
That sounds like it's going great. $80 from $3 a week.
Yeah, I know. No, I'm a bit worried about what she's saving up for. I'd love to hear your thoughts at home. If you've got an allowance system, or you're going for pocket money, or maybe the reward system is working for you, please let us know. breakfast@tvnz.co.nz.